Introduction. Land is the most important of all natural resources. It serves as the source for all other resources, such as minerals, forests, the life forms above and below the surface, plants and animals, different types of soil, surface water, rivers and lakes, human settlements and population. Let us understand land and other important resources such as soil and water and their uses in more detail. Land resources. All human beings live on land and use it for agriculture and various other purposes. What percentage of the earth is land? It is only about 30% of the total area of the earth's surface. About one-third of the earth's total land area is not suitable for living or is uninhabitable. The land surface is also not the same everywhere. There are level plains, uplands or plateaus, hills and mountains at various locations. Different types of land present different types of resources. Therefore, all places are not evenly populated. In addition, the areas with extremely cold or hot climate are sparsely populated. Soil fertility also varies from place to place. For example, the Arctic areas, the deserts and high mountains are unfavorable for activities and practices such as farming. On the other hand, most of the plains across the world are very fertile. Generally, humans tend to live in areas with moderate climate, fertile soil and level land. The plains have all these features, so they are the most populous areas in the world. Land use. Patterns of land use tell us how land is being utilized by humans. Generally, land is used for the purpose of agriculture, settlements, and other urban developments such as road and industry by humans. Land use refers to the economic use of land. The land can be used as agricultural fields to cultivate crops or as industrial areas to establish factories. Land cover is the physical element that covers the land. Vegetation, buildings or water are included in it. Land use depends on physical factors such as topography, climate, availability of water, soil and minerals. It is estimated that about 11% of the Earth's surface is used for cultivation. Forests cover another 28%, while pastures account for 34%. Urban areas cover approximately 5% of it. The rest of the land resources include land that could be productive but has been used for economic purposes such as built-up structures, parks and gardens. Barren land and even wastelands are included in this category. Land use also varies from one part of the world to the other and also within a smaller area. Change in the patterns of land use is one of the main reasons for many processes of environmental change. It influences the basic resources of land use, including the soil. Poor land management has degraded vast amounts of land, reduced our ability to produce enough food, and is a major threat to rural livelihoods in many developing countries. Classification of land. Land can be classified on the basis of ownership, private land, and community land. Private land is used and owned by a person or a group of people for personal use. Community land is owned and used by the whole community, like parks, roads, forests, etc. These community lands are also called common property. Resources. Soil resources. Soil is the uppermost layer covering the surface of the earth. Have you ever picked up soil with your bare hands? How does it feel to hold it? Soil consists of minerals and organic matter, air and water. Minerals come from the weathering of rocks, while organic matter consists of biological plants and organisms, both living and dead. It also has humus, which is the partially decomposed organic matter. Water in the soil contains dissolved nutrients, and the air in it has high levels of gases such as carbon dioxide and low level of oxygen. The right mix of organic matter and minerals makes soil fertile. Formation of soil. Soil varies from place to place and even from one field to the next. For example, the soil next to a river could have lots of nutrients, making it a productive area, while the soil on a plateau, a little far away, could be stony and unproductive. Why does soil vary so much from place to place? Several factors affect soil formation. Some of them are parent rock, climate, vegetation, and time. Profile of the soil. There are several factors that affect the composition of soil. Its thickness, which is the basic property of soil, varies from a few centimeters to a few meters. Despite such variations, soils have nearly identical vertical structure. That is, it forms in horizontal layers. The uppermost layer of soil is known as the topsoil. It is the first layer with a lot of humus. Immediately below is the subsoil that consists of uneven coarse particles of rock and very little humus. Below the subsoil is the bedrock, which is hard, solid, and tightly bound rock. The different layers of soil together is known as soil profile. Soils of India. Soils in India have formed under hot and humid climate and from different types of parent rock. So the color of soils, their mineral composition, texture, structure, and organic content vary from place to place. Broadly, 6 types of soil are found in India. Soil conservation. Soil is a precious resource and an important part of the ecosystem. If you have soil, you have life. Imagine a world with no soil. Besides supporting food and fiber and wildlife habitat, soils affect atmosphere and the world climate. It takes nearly 500 years to form soil 1 centimeter thick. Soil conservation is the prevention of the wasteful use of soils to conserve resources for the future. There are several ways in which soil degradation can be controlled. Water resources. Water is basic to life and one of the most important renewable natural resources. It is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. It is the only resource that is available in 3 different forms: liquid, oceans, rivers, and lakes; gaseous, water vapor in the atmosphere; and solid, ice in the mountains and polar regions. Water covers 71% of the Earth's surface. The Earth is rightly called the water planet or blue planet. Oceans cover 2/3 of the total, but all of it is not fit for human consumption. Much of the fresh water that serves as a resource for humans is provided by precipitation. Some of this water soaks into the ground and is stored in soils and pores of rocks. A small part of fresh water exists in the rivers and streams. All forms of organisms require water to live, and so do humans. We need water for drinking, bathing, cleaning, cooking, and other household use, irrigation, and industrial processes. Besides, rivers and streams provide means of transport and recreation. Water is so important that ancient civilizations settled and built towns and cities near water sources. Freshwater distribution. You know that 97.5% of water on the surface of the earth is salt water and not fit for human use. Most of the little fresh water we have is frozen as ice sheets and mountain glaciers. Lakes, ponds, rivers and streams are the sources of fresh water. Wetlands such as swamps and marshes also have fresh water. This water is salt-free and accounts for less than 0.5% of the world's water supply. Water is not evenly distributed and neither can it be added or subtracted, but it remains in constant motion, which you have already read about in water cycle. The water from oceans evaporates into air. Then it falls as rain on land. The amount of rainfall received in different parts of the world varies considerably. Some places receive heavy rainfall while others hardly get any. This is the reason why water supplies also vary across the world. Water conservation. Freshwater scarcity may be a big crisis in future. Unless steps are taken to manage water properly, how can you manage water? Every individual can contribute towards water conservation and can make a difference to the environment. You could start by using only as much water as required. Here are some steps being taken by different countries to conserve water and its quality. Water reuse and recycling, seawater desalination, protection of wetlands, river cleaning to improve quality of water, afforestation to reduce runoff, rainwater harvesting, encouraging better irrigation practices, addressing causes of pollution. Rainwater harvesting. It has become important to preserve and conserve water that's available, even if it's in the form of rain. Rainwater harvesting is one of the most popular methods of conserving water, especially in urban areas. The rainwater is collected on the roofs of buildings and then stored underground for later use. This helps in recharging depleted groundwater, raises the declining water table, and adds to the existing water supply. It is also environment-friendly in urban areas. In rural areas, rainwater harvesting helps in controlling the floodwater flowing into the river, which then dry up after the rain stops. The water, when held back, will seep into the ground and recharge the groundwater supply.